Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and in front of us I've got about $1,200 in French silver jetons that I think I bought for a really nice price. I paid about $36 each at auction, and these coins are from the 1600s and 1700s, and from what I could tell, the auction listing just literally showed a pile of these unattributed, so it's a bit of a risk, but I felt like there were some nice condition ones in here, and it's something that I'm taking a risk, I'm taking a gamble. I'm going to pour these out and we'll go coin by coin. I believe that there should be 34 in total, and see exactly what we have. Some of these are used to commemorate, I've unboxed and purchased a fair amount of non-silver ones like brass and copper, but the silver ones I just feel have a lot more maybe history, rarity, that sort of thing to them, and I'm again excited to see what we have. This video is sponsored by Whatnot, a live streaming auctions and shopping app where I regularly sell coins and banknotes of all types, including US, world, errors, varieties, silver, gold, ancients, and more. And don't forget to use my link in the description to get a free $10 off on your first order on anything on the platform. Let's get into the video. And let's kick things off here. These seem to come in two plastic flips, or like two in one plastic flip, and wow, here, this is sort of what we should be getting ready to see. 1749 Tresor Royale. We see sort of a wheat field with CB Credita Reddit. So that's sort of funny, the Reddit jeton. And right here we have Ludovicus, so King Louis the 15th. So I'm not sure. I would assume FM is a sort of a call out to whoever the engraver of this design was, but there's still traces of luster on this coin, and I would assume that these are somewhat lower percentage silver, but they're definitely struck mainly in silver. And yeah, there you can see also, especially sort of in the Tresor Royale lettering, where the very cool, I just feel like this art is gorgeous, but the luster even enhances that a bit. So I'm going to put that down. I'm going to be transferring these to different flips, and I may go a little bit faster, but again, the art on these, I did not see this one. This one's from 1693, Secrétaire du Roi, which is probably the secretary of the king. Then this is probably Latin, Ducem Resem Que Secuntur. And then on this side, it'll be Ludovicus Magnus Rex. This should be Louis the 14th, but again, some interesting like luster and traces of toning behind the silver. It's like a fiery jeton. And again, I think given some of the comps and the comparables online, when I saw these coins available at a price of about $35 each, I felt like I had to bid aggressively and make sure that I ended up with them, just because it's pretty challenging to source, especially large groups like this. This one is exactly from 1700, so it will probably be a King Louis the 14th one as well, from France, of course, but Athenaeum Lugdunense Restitutum. So again, just really nice. Or I don't know, Academ Liter Lugdun. I thought Lugdunum was like a mint or some sort of an actual physical location. And here we see on this side, really interesting. I don't know if that's a biblical scene or something, but all around a crest of what I assume is maybe like a part or portion of France, something like that. But a really nice, I think even seeing these in hand, these planchets are quite large as well, which I think, just makes them actually a bit more collectible, special. People like larger planchet coin type items. On this one, I don't exactly know. It looks like there's much more Latin on them, but it says, let's see. So over here it's Parmond Lang Lu CII. That's like the 102nd Maistre de. Okay, but something of the Roi. And on this side, wow, 1681. I believe that the silver jetons were definitely more collectible and rare, but maybe made for more special occasions, or produced with a bit higher quality art on them as well. Cis Probat, and we see really nice sun, and it's interesting how the sun has a face on it. And it makes me think sort of what were these artists trying to commemorate and pay not homage to, but this one looks like more of an imperial crown, and it says the states of Cambrai et de Cambresis. So I don't know if that's like also a smaller, this is going to prompt a lot of historical research, but again, we see King Louis the 15th there. So I assume that this would have been, this one is the first one without a date, but probably in the early 1700s, based off of the portrait style. After that, we'll have, let's see what is in here, because this one, I really like anything with the tree, and I can't tell if that looks like it's got to be some sort of an art, and like over here, unless it's just a die break. Actually, it might be a die crack. 1723 Extraordinaire de Guerre, so a crazy war, and it would make sense that that's a die break. Basically, when the planchet or when the dies hit into coins and impress make their impressions, sometimes parts of it will fall off as they wear down, especially on something like a jeton, Honos Belli Pacisque. And this one going to be, of course, Louis the 15th. Looks like a very young portrait, and again, that makes sense for 1723. I believe Louis the 14th had died in about, I want to say 1715. So, young portrait right there. Let's see on this side. So, we'll go first with the Soli Fas Cernari Solem, 1725. And I don't know, again, I feel like avocat au conseil du roi, so maybe the lawyers and the council of the king, that's sort of a commemorative for some of them. This one, you can tell that it's been cleaned, unfortunately. There's a lot of hairlines on it, but I don't think that takes away, I mean, it's a really young head first, which is sort of interesting, but then also, that just to think that it's probably commemorating some of like the advisors, or maybe it was handed to the advisors of the royal, the king, over 300 years ago, or right around 300 years ago, actually. I think that makes that special, and it does something that a lot of the coins do not do. And wow, look at this, a little bit of dark terminal rainbow toning. Totem in spiritu incorpore nihil, and it's communauté des distillateurs MD d'eau de vie. So something about the distillation of the water of life, and then we see maybe like a swan or something coming down, and it's a water pump, but there's also a king, and wow, look at that, wonderful. And I think that I could get a much better, if I had my lighting setup is probably not doing this coin justice, but what a great jeton with some, again, beautiful toning on that. And I'm really tempted, on a big $1,220 purchase, I'm probably going to have to, sell or look to sell some of it. But with these ones, I don't have a ton of interest. I sort of just want to keep them. So we'll see what happens. But Ludovicus Magnus Rex, this one looks like an older coin of, I assume, the 14th, and 1707 will confirm that. Another wheat, a harvest scene, reminiscent of this one that we saw earlier. Though this one seems maybe slightly more crudely struck or worn down, but the purpose of jetons is they would often be used as counting tokens or gaming tokens, though I'm not sure as much with the silver ones, if there was maybe people were more reserved in terms of throwing them around. Here we've got 1705, Tresor Royal, Nec Sistunt Nubula Cursum. Again, not sure what that means, but we've got Ludovicus Magnus Rex. Really interesting cloud scene right there. And then after that, let's see what we've got over here. We've got 1751 artillery. So that does look like some sort of thing exploding. It doesn't look like the sun on first glance, and really fascinating. Maybe that has to do with some of the wars that could have been going on then, because remember, it was so much fighting during this time in Europe and in the colonies and all over the place. So just to have these commemorative, I'm really impressed by how much more things are commemorated, so to speak, on a lot of this material versus much of the copper and brass jeton. Here, this one looks suspiciously maybe a bit cleaned or polished up, or maybe it's just in really nice condition. But 1694, let's see, Protecteur de l'Académie Françoise à l'immortalité. So I wish I knew, even if I know a little bit of French and not enough to really get by, it's tougher to know also the French history and context, with which these were minted in. But we have a little bit of a ship scene over here. Ex optata omnius adest, 1679, and we've got Maria Theresa, who could have been the, not the protector, but the regent, maybe as a son or a young king was just being born. And 1679, actually that does not make a particular lot of sense, but maybe I believe she was maybe the wife of Louis the 14th, King Louis the 14th in France. But again, some nice little fiery toning there, gonna make that a much more interesting coin from my perspective. And then 1690, Galère quo postulat usus. So we've I think that's a C, and then we have another flying bird over, and wow, look at that. Something to the Galère, but Ogue de Bourbon. So maybe this has to do with the provincial ruler of Bourbon or something like that. Great pickup right there. And then we'll move on. Right here we've got this one also. So I think that there was this very similar one that we got earlier from, this one's from 1705, Secrétaire du Roi. And then here we have one that was from 1693. So a similar design, probably different dies, but maybe the same one. And interesting to see how, I didn't know that you could have the same design but space them out by a lot of years. We got to be more historical significance. And assiduous consulis. We've got King Louis the 15th, a really nice coin right here, nice emblem crest, and pretty well toned. This one seems to be in better shape than some of the other ones, and always want there to be some want there to be a date. I always feel like that makes things more interesting, but I would imagine that given that there's less different designs of the silver jeton, that we could find that out, or I could find it out if I want to add it to my collection or sell it, or make more of a decision on it. Right here we have a 1702 Partie Casual. Again, very interesting. I may start speeding up, but it looks like there's some sort of tree that's wrapping, or a vine wrapping around a pole, and this one also, seems to have a little bit of a thicker strike. 1728 Facule Medis Parisien. So I don't know if that's like the doctors of Paris, but we also see some snakes there. Urbi et Orbi Salus, with Steph FR. I don't exactly know. Seems like somebody different than King Louis the 15th, who would have been in power then, but Geoffroy Decanus. I don't know what that means. That'll be more fun research, and that's why I like doing videos on these things. Even if I don't end up editing them back, I'll definitely learn a ton. And wow, video not doing this one justice. Really nice blue hues of toning, and you can see that wow on the reverse. I promise it looks better in person. Ciutas Camera Census. Just a gorgeous, I don't know, maybe this has been sitting in somebody's cabinet for 250 years and just sort of had a really nice ripe toning, or maybe that toning could be a little bit more modern than that. But let's see what else we've got. État de Bourgogne. So I think that's Burgundy. I could be wrong. But we see, wow, I don't know if that's Hercules or some other big figure there, but date on this going to be 1688, I believe. And some slain figures being stood over by whoever that is, and Bourgogne, the state of Bourgogne, standing strong. Again, a lot of political imagery and messaging and that sort of thing on these coins. This one is also Maria Teresa. Et Nav is Navarre, a province in what's now Spain. 1733, Maison de la Reine. So I don't know if that would have it's like the House of the Rain, like these jetons were minted for or by some sort of noble family or something like that who could have owned that house. But I have heard that some of the silver ones would be more given out also just to commemorate individual people or events. Here we see Assiduus Concilis, which we've previously seen before, but a young looking portrait of King Louis the 15th. So after that, and we've got the sun has been intruding a little bit on my filming setup here, but in a good way. This looks very familiar. This one does not. Patria Memor looks like the date on this one. I believe that's 1656. Really nice toning again. Vertis consularibus patria memor. So I don't know if that's like the memory of our fathers or country, but probably not that I'm saying misinformation, but probably just don't put too much into what I'm saying. Jetons de État de Bretagne, so Brittany, 1756. A really nice shape jeton with King Louis the 15th. An interesting portrait, and that's one of the more modern ones that we've unboxed basically today. But 1756, that's really approaching the colonial times, and so again, just so interesting to have well produced, nice silver artifacts from exactly that time. This one should also be a bit later, and maybe not 1722. So here, that is I guess a very young portrait of, they would take these little kids. Well, I'm not sure how old King Louis the 15th was, because the Sun King, the 14th, was in power for like 72 years, I want to say, was the longest reigning king and maybe monarch in Europe, but it's a Brittany jeton, and we've got probably 10 more, so, there's a really nice mix and variety here. Ooh, is that 1770 to 1771 Vincit Amor Patriae? Really, wow, this is incredible. Revolutionary or colonial era, you see a strong ship there, de la Marie de Messire, Roger, yeah, I don't know, there's so much to sort of dig into with this jeton, but it's in really nice condition and has been preserved excellently, and I'm really excited to own that. Some seashells, not exactly what I would have expected on a coin. And this one also, okay, so we sort of back, here's a 1766 to 67, pro Deo Rege et Patria, maybe that's just saying generally being pro the king and the state, but de la Marie de d'Écuyer François Libaud. Again, not much context, but I do like the silver, the date, the old date of it, and then the nice ship design that we saw there. Here's a 1762 Extraordinaire de Guerre, Bella Manu Passem que Guerro. Don't know a ton about what that means, but here's Louis the 15th jeton a little bit later as well, 1762. So let's see what else. 1722, another Bretagne, and it looks like I don't want to not waste time, but I don't want to just drag things out for the sake of dragging them out. About 21 years removed here, and it makes me interested. Okay, so we do see much different portraits. This one is going to be for Louis the 15th. This one is for the 14th. Interesting patinas or surfaces, but I really like how these jetons tone generally. Big fan, and I don't know. Again, given that I feel like I want to just keep and hang on to a lot of these, well, we'll see what happens. But this one is 1731, Secrétaire du Roi. Also looks a little bit familiar in terms of, but maybe not. It looks like a bunch of bees or something, or insects that are going up to the sun, and interesting portrait. Very strong, not reading, but like edge is, I guess, because remember, these were not trying to be transacted with in commerce generally, so it's not like people are going to cut these down as much for their value. And then here it looks like a ton more locusts, 1679, so that seems to be a theme in terms of what people are putting on, and we see Lud and interesting how it looks like that letter punch broke or something like that. But a nice portrait there, and we're going to wrap things up. We've got 2 more of these. Hope that you've enjoyed this, oh no, cool walk through history. Don't think that anything got damaged there, but wow, 1646, much younger. Jeton nomen cum viribus auget. And wow, interesting. Anna DG, so maybe Queen Anna, because Louis would have only been like 3 years into his reign, but I think he also would have been super young. So Regine Modernatrix, oldest silver jeton, I believe, from today. And this one looks like it's not going to be super old because it's King Louis the 15th. And let's flip it over, and yay, we have a tree, 1743 Ordinaire de Guerre, Durando Secula Vincit. Nice, one of many different tree jetons, but I'm not going to do a super long intro. The sun is encroaching on our filming setup, which is fine, but we've got so many interesting, full of history jetons here that I believe are a very good buy at about $35 each for me. I think that I could double or more on a lot of them, and the very worst case would be to get out of them for the same price that I paid. So anyways, pumped about this, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some future videos. I do have a few more jetons from the same large collection that I purchased, and I'm waiting for those to arrive. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Treasure Town, and get in touch with me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, check out my website, treasuretowncoins.com, for news and updates related to the channel and collectibles in general. Lastly, there's a link tree in the description with links to all of my other sites, as well as some affiliate links that can support the channel. But with that being said, have a great day, and I'll hope to see you on some of my videos in the future.